Welcome to the first semi-final, Darth Revan versus Darth Krayt. This will be a best of 5 series, so we'll extend it a little bit longer, and then the final will be a best of 7. Let's jump right into this game. Darth Revan on the left, Darth Krayt on the right, and let's go. So initiative check, 6, and then a 5 for Revan. Krayt will elect to go first. Krayt will move within range for a lightning and use Force Lightning. Do 30 damage to Revan. Revan will roll for Dark Armor though, and missed the save. That'd be 30 damage. See over here, Revan will remain right where he is. Take a Force Point and use a Force Point for Corruption on Darth Krayt. Darth Krayt is now corrupted. However, Crab Armor is going to come into play here. Crab Armor missed, so we'll take a full 20 damage. And now he's corrupted. Initiative, a 2 for Krayt, a 5 for Darth Revan. And Darth Revan is basically just going to choose to go first. I made a mistake. Darth Revan, Master Tactician, should have gone first, or at least chosen what to do last time. But it is what it is. Let's see, Darth Revan's going to move up and start taking care of Darth Krayt. Actually, no. Darth Revan's going to move back here, take a Force Point, and let Corruption do its work. Darth Krayt's act turn. Roll for Corruption. Missed the save. And let's roll for Crab Armor. Made the save, so it's only going to be 10 damage for Corruption. And he's going to move up to Revan. Move here. And attack. A 3. That is a miss. Let's use a Force Point to re-roll, since that's all Krayt can really do at this point. A 6, that is also a miss. Roll for initiative, a 13, and a 7. Revan chooses to go first, of course, for Master Tactician. Let's do triple attack. To hit, Revan only needs a 5 or higher. 12, that's 1 hit. 2 hit for 8. And then a 9, that'll be another hit on all of those. Let's start with the first one for Crab Armor, a miss. Second one for Crab Armor, a success. And then third Crab Armor, a success. That'll be a total of just 40 damage. And Revan, can't forget, will gain a Force Point. Darth Krayt will now activate and use roll for Corruption. A 12, no longer corrupted, and we'll use triple on Darth Revan. First attack, must get 11 or higher to hit due to Duelist. First hit is a 17. Revan will try to block. Success, no damage. Second attack is a miss. And then the next attack, I also forgot to get a Force Point. Need to make sure I keep those. That is a hit for 20 damage. Initiative check, a 1. And then an 8 for Revan. Revan will absolutely choose to go first. I think in this case, Revan is just going to use his Force Points to attack and stuff. No more Corruption at this point. Triple attack. First attack is a hit. Darth Krayt will use Crab Armor and missed. Let's re-roll Crab Armor to diminish the damage a little bit. Still a miss. Unlucky. So that's going to be 20 damage. Second attack by Revan is a 12, a hit. Crab Armor is a success. Third attack is a 6, that's still a hit. Crab Armor come into play. A 20, that's obviously going to be good enough. Now it's Krayt's turn. Krayt's going to gain a Force Point and attack Darth Revan with triple. An 8, that is a miss. Let's re-roll. Gotta get some hits in here. 17, it's hit number 1. And Revan will try to block. Revan is successful with the block, so no damage. Attack number 2 from Krayt is a hit. And attack number 3 will be a miss, so 20 damage total. Initiative, a 20 from Krayt, and an 18 from Revan. However, Revan will choose to go first again. Absolutely. And Revan will use triple attack. and just get down to business here. 18, that is a hit. Darth Krayt will roll for the crab armor, a success. One more hit and he's done. A 4, that is actually a miss. That is a miss. Let's re-roll that one to get the hit in. 16, it's a hit. Nothing Krayt can do. Revan will take game number 1. Let's do, I've reset for game number 2. Let's jump into it. Krayt has a 10. Revan with the 5. Revan will definitely choose to go first. Gain force point and move within range. And use corruption. However, Krayt will see, we haven't rolled 8, so corruption is reduced just to 10 damage. Now Krayt will move within range and take a force point and attack. An 8, that's a miss. Let's re-roll the attack. A 13, that is a hit. Darth Revan is going to use a force point to block, and that was unsuccessful. I did forget again, unfortunately. Got a lot to remember that Krayt was supposed to roll for corruption, and that was successful, so just retroactively that is out of the way. Okay, initiative now for the next round. A 12 and a 16. Revan again will choose to go first to gain a force point and start using triple. Attack number 1, 20, that is a hit. Let's see if Krayt can reduce that damage a little bit. He will, so that's 30 damage total. Revan will attack again, that is a hit. A 2, a miss, let's reduce the damage. Still a miss, it'll be 50 damage total. And attack number 3, a 17, that's also a hit of course. And then a 7, that's successful. So the total damage is going to be 60. It is now Krayt's turn to use his own triple attack. Krayt will attack Revan. Attack number 1 is a miss. Let's re-roll. Still a miss. Attack number 2 is a 7, also a miss. Attack number 3, a miss. It's bad ruling by Darth Krayt right here, and a bad, inopportune time. Let's roll initiative. A 4 and an 18. Obviously, Revan will choose to go first. Revan will gain the force point and use triple. Let's see, first attack, that is going to be a hit. And roll for crab armor, a success, so that'd be just 10. Attack number 2, also a hit. Roll for crab armor, a success, that's just 10 damage. And then Revan will attack one more time, a 6, again that is still a hit. And an 11, that is successful to reduce that damage down a little bit more. Krayt will now activate, gain a force point, and attack Revan. A critical hit is exactly what he needed. Revan will try to block, will be successful. It will be successful, but a bummer for Krayt. Now let's roll again. A 13, that's going to be a hit. Nothing Revan can do. And a 5, that is a miss, but let's re-roll. Still a miss, just 1 hit. Time for initiative. I'm gonna reset both of them to face away. A 1 from Revan, okay. And Krayt can definitely choose to go first here. Krayt will go first this time and activate. And Krayt is going to use triple attack. That is pretty much it at this point. A 17, that is a hit. Revan will try to block it. That is a success. Okay, attack number 2 is a 20. Perfect, it's very good for Krayt. That's gonna be a total of 40 damage. And the next attack is a 4. Let's re-roll that attack though. And it's gonna be a 3, still a miss. Now it'll be Darth Revan's turn to see what he can do. Darth Revan will gain the force point and use triple attack. First attack is actually a miss. Let's re-roll that attack. Gotta get these hits in there. 14 is a hit. Krayt will use crab armor successfully. Revan will use attack number 2. A miss, nothing you can do about it. And Revan will attack with the next one. Attack number 3 is a hit. Crab armor will come into play. Crab armor is successful. That will reduce the damage just down to just the very end here. Krayt is almost done. Let's reset and do initiative. Krayt's got a chance, but not a good one. A 19, and then Tactician's gonna make him go first likely. Yep. Revan will absolutely elect to go first here, and let's just get down to business. Attack number 1 is actually a miss. Let's re-roll that attack. Attack number 1 is a hit. Nothing Krayt can do about it, so he is taken out and loses game number 2. I have reset for game number 3. A 10 from Revan, and a 17. Revan will, of course, choose to go first and use Corruption. That is the play. Krayt will use Crab Armor on the Corruption, and it's only 10 damage. Now Krayt's turn to do what he wants. Let's see, Krayt is going to, just move up and attack. That's probably the best play right here. Before I move, let's use Force Lightning and then move up and attack, just to make it a little more interesting, I suppose. That's going to be trigger a Dark Armor roll, which was successful, so it will reduce that damage just down to 10. However, can't forget this again. Let's roll for the Corruption. Was a miss, so Darth Krayt will take that Corruption damage, but will reduce it. Will not reduce it because the Crab Armor did not come into play, so that will be 20 damage. All right, let's set up for the next round. A 19 and a 1. All right, here Darth Krayt has an opportunity. Darth Krayt will choose to go first. Darth Krayt will use triple attack, of course. First attack is an 18. That is a hit, very impressive. Darth Revan will try to block and is successful. Attack number 2 is a 16. That is a hit. Revan will take 20. And the last attack is an 18 as well. Revan will take another 20. Revan will now choose to activate. It would seem Krayt's having a little momentum in this game. We'll see if I can carry him to a win. Revan's first attack is a 20. That is a critical hit. Oh boy. Krayt is going to roll for Crab Armor. Was successful, so that just dishes the damage down to 30. So attack number 2 is 16. Again, another hit. Crab Armor saves just a little bit that time. And the last attack is a 9. That is still a hit, of course. And let's roll for the Crab Armor. Okay, Crab Armor comes into play. Just 50 total damage. The Crab Armor is great. It's definitely making him absorb a lot, but doesn't have a way of blocking it. So let's reset for the next round. Initiative, it's an 11 for Krayt. And an 11 for Revan. Let's re-roll. A 13. And an 18. Revan will obviously choose to go first for sure. Let's grab that force point and use triple attack again. A 12. Crab Armor comes into play here. A success. That could be 10 damage. Attack number 2 is a 16. A hit. 7 for Crab Armor. That's still a success. And then for Darth Revan, last attack is a 12 again. Another hit. Crab Armor again is successful in helping mitigate that damage just a little bit, but it's just so much damage to keep taking over and over again. Yeah. Okay, Krayt is going to gain a force point and go for it. Attack number 1 is a miss. Gotta re-roll that. Attack number 1 is still a 1. What a waste. Attack number 2. Oh, I'm gonna re-roll that. Jumped up to a spot where it was kind of 2 things. Attack number 2 is a 7, a miss. And attack number 3, let's see if we can get a 7, a miss. All right, I think Krayt is just gonna drop all these games. Does not seem to have what it takes to win. Okay, so 4 for Revan and 8 for Krayt. Revan will choose to go first. Revan will get that force point and just start attacking. I think this is where Krayt is done for. A 7, that's a hit. Crab Armor will reduce that, of course, but one more hit and he's done. There's an 8. That's a hit. Nothing that Krayt can do about it. Unfortunately, this was not an interesting semifinal. Revan was pretty handedly took care of business. Krayt absorbed a lot of damage over and over again, but didn't have the attack to quite break through consistently. That is the first of semifinal. and Revan will move on to the championship. Semi-final number 2 between 3 seed Darth Bane and 7 seed Darth Plagueis. This will be best of 5. Let's jump right on into it. Anybody trying to defeat Darth Bane is going to have their hands full, but we'll see what Plagueis can do. Okay, Plagueis wins and will choose to go first. Plagueis will hang out right here, and then we'll use all of his force points to... Actually, you know, Plagueis is going to stay back and charge up force points. He's going to need more force points later for parry and things like that. Let's stick here. Deactivated. And then we have Bane. Bane will gain a force point, of course. And Bane is going to move right next to Darth Plagueis so we can get down to business. Okay, next round's going to be interesting. Darth Plagueis rolls a 3. Bane rolls an 8. Bane will choose to go first, of course. Bane is going to activate, gain a force point, and figure out what to do. Bane will use sorcery and assault. No, not assault. Rage. Sith sorcery comes first. Success, so he is not activated. But let's see what he can do about all this damage he's about to absorb. Darth Bane's first attack. And everything is, unless it's a 1, it'll be a miss. A 6, that is a hit. Parry. Parry is successful. Blocks that 50 damage. Attack number 2 is still a hit. And parry is successful again. Okay, this is where if he keeps getting lucky with parry, he may have a great chance here potentially. Okay, let's use Force Corruption. Gonna gain 2 force points and spend them. And Corruption is gonna come into play and do 40 damage. Initiative, 9, and a 20. Bane will definitely choose to go first. Activate, gain a force point, and roll for Corruption. Still corrupted. Bane has Master of the Force and a few other things, so let's use a force point to get uncorrupted. Success, and now Bane will use the other force point for Sith Rage. Get a lot of damage in. Okay, attack number 1 from Bane is a hit with a 2. That's hilarious. And then parry was successful. Next attack is a 12. Parry is successful again with a 12. So Darth Plagueis is he's fine. Okay, let's use Plagueis. Let's use all those force points I'm gonna gain and the ones I own to do Corruption again. Okay, roll for initiative. A 1 for Plagueis, and a 14 for Bane. Bane will gain 1 force point and choose to go first. Bane's just going to use that force point on Rage, of course, to get extra damage. See if he can break through. This is kind of the opportunity to do it. 5 is a hit. Parry. Nope, not this time. That's a 50 damage. Attack number 2 is a 19. And parry, in this case, is also not successful. So Plagueis is going to sustain damage. I did forget again, of course, before I go, let's check for Corruption. Corruption is gone. Okay, there we go. Now Plagueis can go. Plagueis is going to gain 2 force points and simply just attack Bane. That's all he can do. That's a 5. That is a miss. Let's set up for the next round. Initiative, 12. And a 10. Plagueis will choose to go first. And we'll choose to do the Corruption to start getting that damage flowing again on Bane. Working pretty well, but it's a definitely a tense battle going on here. Okay, and that's it for him. Bane will now go. Bane's gonna gain that force point And roll for corruption. Not successful. Let's re-roll to get that corruption off. Gotta get rid of it. Unsuccessful. Bane will take the damage. Well, let's see here. Bane could lose if Bane does not take care of business right now. Bane will use double attack. Attack number 1 is a 3, but parry has to work, and it does. Attack number 2 coming in. It is a 10. This is for the game. A miss. Plagueis goes down, but was so close. We will do game number 2 right after this. Okay, reset up for game number 2. Let's jump right into it. 11 and a 15. Let's see here. Bane's just gonna go right up to him and start getting this action going. Bane's just gonna use full movement, not do anything, just get right up to him. And then Darth Plagueis will use corruption, of course, to get the damage started. That'll be 40 on Bane. Initiative. They are both unactivated. A 13 for Plagueis and a 6 for Bane. Plagueis will definitely choose to go first, get those force points prepared. And since he's already corrupted, Plagueis will just simply attack. A miss. That's okay. Okay, Bane's turn. Bane will gain a force point, but will roll for corruption. Corruption is gone. Now Bane can do a few things. Bane will use... let's see, yeah, Bane's just going to use Rage. That's really it. First attack is a hit, of course. Parry, unsuccessful, but let's re-roll the parry. Still unsuccessful, that's 50 damage. And then attack number 2 is a 17, parry. Unsuccessful again, so not as lucky this time on the parries. And that will be that'll be his turn. And then Darth Plagueis already went. So let's roll for initiative. A 16 by Plagueis and a 13 by Darth Bane. Plagueis is going to get those 2 force points and attack again. Gosh, I mean, that's tough. Let's just see this out here. Let's rely on parry to get through. That's attack. That's a miss. No, actually, that's a hit. Yeah, it's a hit. Darth Bane will now do his stuff and attack. Everything's a hit. Let's except for ones. But before that, let's spend the force point I was going to get on Sith Rage, and just leave it at that. So first attack on him is a 2. That is still a hit, of course, because of all the bonuses. Let's see. Parry is unsuccessful. To stay alive, parry's got to work. Success. Attack number 2. It's a hit. Parry. Not successful. Plagueis is going to go down a little bit faster this time. I've now reset for game number 3. Let's see. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Reset for game number 3. Plagueis was close on game number 1, but not quite close enough. This is really tough. Really tough. Okay, an 11 and a 19. In this case, a Bane is going to gain the force point and just run right up to Plagueis, like he did before. In this case, Plagueis is going to... What is Plagueis going to do? Plagueis is going to gain 2 force points and use corruption right away. The only option. Okay, and that will do it. Initiative, a 16 for Plagueis and a 19 for Darth Bane. Darth Bane is absolutely going to go first. Oh, hooked him right there. Let's do a few things here. Let's first roll for corruption. Corruption is gone. I'm going to use 2 force points for sorcery and 1 force point for Sith Rage. So sorcery first, not successful. Okay, Sith Rage, and in first attack is a 9, obviously hit. Parry blocks it though, and attack number 2 is a hit, and parry blocks this one. Okay, now Darth Plagueis has an opportunity to activate, gain 2 force points, and is just going to attack normal. That is a miss, and I'll leave it be that way. Okay, move on to the next round. Initiative is a 10 by Plagueis and an 11 by Bane. Bane is going to gain that force point, and Bane is going to use sorcery to try to keep him from activating and doing corruption and such. So let's roll for sorcery. Unsuccessful, but let's see. Plagueis has got to stay alive here and do stuff. Yeah, Plagueis is going to try to avoid sorcery. A miss. That was a missed opportunity there. Too bad. Okay, let's attack. This is going to be a little less damage though, because there's no Sith Rage involved. A miss, a 1. So actually survived one of these. Finally, Bane got a 1. Attack number 2 is a 3 though, and parry is a success. Okay, no damage there. Good job. Going to gain 2 force points for Plagueis, and Plagueis will attack. Charging up to use Force Corruption 4. Force Corruption 3 doesn't help him right now because it'll hurt himself. So let's get that damage on there and reset for the next round. Okay, initiative, a 9 for Plagueis, and Bane has a 10. Bane keeps on getting a higher initiative roll over and over again. Bane will get a force point, and let's see here. Bane doesn't need to spend force points on rage at this point, so let's wait to gain stuff for sorcery in the future. Attack number 1 is a 4. That's a hit. Parry successful. Attack number 2. Attack number 2 is an 8. Let's see if parry can be successful again. Parry was successful at 16. Now, our friend Plagueis is going to gain the force points and corrupt right off the bat to get that going. There you go. 100 damage for him, 0 for Plagueis. Plagueis is looking better in this game. Let's reset. I'm like low-key rooting for Plagueis. I should be impartial, but I'm low-key rooting for Plagueis to pull this off. A 1 for Plagueis, that will not suffice. And a 15 for Bane. Alright, so Bane will gain a force point, and Bane will roll for corruption. A 6. Bane's gonna roll to re-roll that corrupt. Yeah, let's re-roll that corruption and get rid of it. Success. So corruption is now gone. Bane is just going to attack like normal. A 5 is a hit. Let's see if parry saves him. Attack number 2 is a 4. It's also a hit. And parry does not save him. However, let's re-roll. A success. So parry does save him right there. Okay. Still in this. Plagueis will gain 2 force points. And just attack normally. And miss, unfortunately. So no damage there. Let's reset for the next round. Initiative. An 8 for Plagueis. And a 1 for Darth Bane. So Plagueis is going to gain the force points to use corruption on Darth Bane again. And we'll see what that leads to. So that's going to be 40 damage to Bane. And he'll be considered activated. Okay, Darth Bane's up. Darth Bane's going to gain a force point and try for corruption. Okay, is corrupted still, but let's re-roll that corruption roll. Okay, Bane is not corrupted anymore, but Bane's going to keep that force point again for the future. There's just no really use in using it right now again. So, okay, there is no force points in the pile right now for re-rolls. So attack number 1 is a miss, or it's a hit, sorry. Parry is successful. Attack number 2 is a 2, which is still a hit. And parry is successful. So there we go. Let's reset for initiative. Okay, so for this initiative check, we have Plagueis with a 5, and then we have Bane with a 10. So Bane is definitely going to choose to go first in this case. Gain the force point, and Bane is going to use sorcery. Plagueis blocks the sorcery, so we'll still be able to activate. And then Bane will attack like normal. 13 is a hit. Successful on the parry. Same story. A 19. And the parry is not successful this time. So Plagueis will take 40 damage in this situation. Not 50, so just 40. Okay, now Plagueis' turn. Plagueis will activate. Gain 2 force points. It has a shot to win the game if he can hit a hit right now. 17, that is a hit. Okay, let's re-roll for initiative. Plagueis will roll and get a 13, not bad. Bane, though, will get a 14 and out initiative him, which is pretty funny. Keeps happening. Okay, Bane will absolutely go first and try to end him right now. Bane's attack number 1, a 12, that is a hit. Parry will not save him. Bane, so he has to re-roll this parry to stay alive. Is unsuccessful, so that will be 40 damage. And then Bane will attack again. Oh, Bane will attack again. And that would be a 10, that's a hit. And Plagueis has to parry this one. Doesn't, and goes down. What a bummer for Plagueis. Plagueis was so close twice, but in the end was unsuccessful at being able to take out Darth Bane. And Darth Bane, just like that, will move to the finals and face Darth Revan in the championship.